Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you the most powerful team in the Love Cup, which features Skarmory, Umbreon, and Meganium. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Well, this team is really super meta, and I featured pretty much the same team, but with Azu, and lo and behold, Meganium makes it to the top. Well, that's just because, let's be honest, freaking Frenzy Plant is OP. Meganium is a super tank. It's got Frenzy Plant and Earthquake. So outside of getting locked into Skarmories or just any flyer in general, it's a pretty baller mon. And you can actually still win if you're able to chip away at an opponent's HP, even if it's locked into a Steel type. Well, if it's hurt enough, and you'll see me do it on this shoutcast. But yes, this is the most powerful team. As you see here, it tops it, barely topping the second one, which features Grass and an Umbreon combined, Jumpluff and Umbreon, at 0.3 more points than above. In other words, it's still really freaking powerful though. So, I'm going to feature this team and analyze it. But, real quick, for my mental health tip of the day. The mental health tip of the day is to be honest with yourself. My therapist mental health is the reason why I say that is because the first step into actually being able to improve your mental health is to be honest. If you're lacking in something, you have to be honest. You suck at something. Like King of Charmanders, I'm lacking in my ability to... I probably should consciously count moves more. But I don't. Because why? I'm still able to do sacks, and I only consciously count moves when it's like to the wire or like if it's barely there. In other words, I'm still a beast of a player despite the fact that I don't do what most other people do. Like when you watch other people stream or something like that, they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's like, okay, you've been playing this for so long, why can't you do it naturally? But it's the same thing for mental health. As a therapist, in order for me to actually recognize, I have to make sure my client is being honest with me, making sure they're actually telling me the right things. Duration, symptoms are all accurate. So there you go. And the first step of being honest with yourself is something is wrong with you, which is why you're in therapy in the first place. So with that being said, being honest is the first step, and make sure you are honest with yourself. Screw the noise. Whatever tells you what happens. If someone keeps telling you that you're doing great, they're probably not helping you out, because there probably is something you can get better at, or if there's something wrong with you. It's like Pokemon Go PvP. Pokemon Go PvP is factually not that exciting. You hear me say this all the time, but it still really isn't exciting. I mean, come on, after 3 years, we're still lagging, guys. Like, what do you have to say? And with that being said, Pokemon Go PvP has essentially been ran over by Halo Championship Series, Apex itself. Mind you, Valorant came out in 2011 or 2020 and has pretty much eclipsed anything Pokemon Go has to offer. Obviously, we were never going to beat the first-person shooter genre, but still, there you go. But if you want to sign something that ran us over, at one point, Fall Guys did beat us at one point. And they took over as the most viewed game of I think, most watched game at one point. And it had a titanical amount of success compared to Pokemon Go. In other words, Pokemon Go isn't that great. It really isn't, guys. Whereas the tens of thousands, 100,000 viewers, I mean, if you look at Rocket League championships here, like Rocket League, RLCS, Rocket League Champion Series, they get 90 to 100k viewers. Pokemon Go has never gotten more than 20,000 viewers. As far as the PvP aspect goes. Never more than 10. 10, 12, yeah. And if you watch the Twitch Rivals stream, we went from 12 to 5k really quick. Really quick. So, we're not that great. And it doesn't have a lot of potential unless you overhaul the system, because Blind 3 just isn't the answer, guys. It's what it is. So, let's just hope for the best. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So, real quick analysis of the team. Umbreon, Skarmory, and Meganium. So, as you see, this team is really good. When you put Skarmory and Umbreon together, you're going to get ace for coverage in bulk automatically. Just because it's such a great core. As you see here, pretty medium high threat score of 566. But, as you see, it's pretty dang good against the meta. Overall, not really much of any holes. You won't see a lot of Mantines here. I haven't. But against a lot of great different combinations, you're just going to see how well this team can do. So, it's a great team. Again, the Skarmory Umbreon core itself is still pretty OP. out. And like I mentioned, you can beat steel types with Meganium or Flyers if you're able to chip away at their HP. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, and here are the battles. As you see here, I am gatekeeping hard as heck with the most powerful team in Johto Cup, according to data. And we get Skarmory into Quagsire. This is a great lead for us. We win this pretty hard. Well, not pretty hard. Our opponent can still possibly win, but we have to shield. So, we're going to chip away a lot of these air slashes. However, this isn't actually a bad matchup for the Quagsire, because Quagsire is pretty bulky on its own right, and it can chip away with these stone edges. So we have to, like I mentioned, we have to be a little careful. As you see here, I'm not able to hit all my bubbles with Sky Attack, but that's okay. So I am just chipping away at this Quagsire, managed to get an extra air slash through, which is great. As you see, stone edge is going to go through. Now, remember how I mentioned it's not a bad matchup? Well, I'm in the red now, so I have to be very careful. And also, even if you do win this switch, as you see here, or not this switch, but if you win this lead, there's a size amount of HP for Skarmory to get farmed, so it's still dangerous. Your opponent can lose the lead with Quagsire, but it can still come out with a sizable amount of energy. Thankfully, I have a rank 2 Skarmory, and because I have a rank 2 Skarmory, it is able to live all these snarls to where I can actually get to a Brave Bird, which is great because I'm going to need all this energy anyways. As you see, Brave Bird goes through. I'm going to send in my own Umbreon because I want to sponge all this damage. With Umbreon here, Last Resort still doesn't do a ton of damage, and if it's a foul play, as you see here, we tank that pretty hard. Now, we have a more than half dead Umbreon actually. We have our Umbreon, and all I'm doing is gathering a ton of energy, and we get an Ariados. This is not good, because Ariados has a strong matchup against both Meganium and Umbreon. However, because I have all this energy on Umbreon, I can just throw it at the back row, as you see here. So all I'm going to do is just chip away at foul play. Ideally, all I really have to do is just expend both of my shields here against this Ariados, take it out, and then Meganium can go ahead and sweep the Umbreon in the back. The Umbreon in the back is so hurt, it's literally going to take only one Frenzy Plant to, like, mow it down. And at the same time, my Meganium is so tanky that it can eat 4 or 5 foul plays before it actually goes down. So, I pretty much have this win condition on a lock. All I have to do is just make sure I don't get hit by a Mega Horn. As you see there, I almost got hit by a Mega Horn, and that would have been like, if y'all watch Demon Slayer, that Nezuko, when Nezuko turns Beast Mode, that's basically what happened. This Ariados almost went Nezuko Beast Mode, freaking full demon, and almost destroyed my freaking Umbreon, which was great, because if I didn't shield that, that would have sucked a lot. And not only that, Ariados has a fantastic matchup against my Meganium. And as you see here, all I'm going to do is, my opponent's still trying to win, and I'm like, bro, really, dude? So all I'm going to do is send him Meganium. They're probably going to top left pretty quick. Or, yeah, pretty quick, or they're going to let this one move off, and then soon after they're going to realize, okay, there's no way in heck I'm going to win. Because at this range, one Frenzy Plant should either KO or close to KOing. And that's GG's. As you see, my prediction is true. Our opponent top lifted really fast because they finally realized that there is nothing they can do. And that's GG's. I did technically RPS my opponent. Well, not really, because Umbreon and Meganium don't have a great matchup against Ariados. Then we get Skarmory to Granbull. This is great. I love punishing Charmers. And as you see here, they make the auto swap into Porygon 2. And my brain is like, oh crap, why didn't I just stay in? So the reason I should have stayed in is because even if they have Zap Cannon, it's going to take a size amount to get to. And not only that, my opponent with Tri-Attack is very mean. As you see here, I get debuffed immediately. And that's really going to suck. So Porygon 2 isn't the best save switch in the world, but when it gets a debuff immediately, then it starts going to town even against Umbreon. I will shield nothing here. The game plan in this scenario is, yeah, I have a Granbull, but I want to farm this thing. So I'm going to chip away with it as much as possible. And that should allow us to just go ahead and bulldoze down with Meganium, as in just farm it down. And then we should be able to have a bazillion energy to throw into that Granbull. Even if something else comes out, I might be able to break a shield. But as you see there, Umbreon -2 gets taken out. And that's perfectly fine. Now, I'm praying they don't debuff me again, because this would really suck when we have Meganium with a bunch of energy. As you see, Tri-Attack goes through, and they don't get the debuff. Thank you, God. It might have been worse on their part, because I would be able to farm down more, but Porygon's Tri-Attack also debuffs you, so that would suck a lot. As you see, the Granbull comes back in, so I should be able to get 2 Frenzy Plants off, and I should be able to KO. Unless they eat it, and as you see, it just puts them in the red. But as you see here, I'm going to switch into that's Sudowoodo, but I'm going to switch into Skarmory, because what's going to happen here is that I wanted to bank that Frenzy Plant, because there's no point in, well, I could have blown a Frenzy Plant on this Sudowoodo, which is probably what I should have done. But I was like, I already swapped in, and I'm like, all I basically have to do is just do as much chip damage as I can, and then Meganium should be able to just farm down Sudowoodo. As you see here, I don't shield the first one because literally that's my game plan. All I have to do is chip away at Sudowoodo. I can farm down with Meganium, and then I should just be able to Frenzy Plant everything to oblivion. Because Meganium is so godforsakingly tanky, and that Granbull is almost dead, there should be no way that Granbull can somehow get to a move, or that something happens where everything's just dangerous. And as you see here, I kind of do everything backwards. I send Meganium, I hit the Frenzy Plant, grab that last shield, and all I'm going to do is farm down. As you see, they're going to Fire Rock Slide. That's perfectly fine. I should be able to just Vine Whip down, and then I'm going to have a Frenzy Plant loaded for that Granbull in the back, or they're going to send in Granbull, try to do as much damage as humanly possible, and as you see, I still get to another Frenzy Plant. I made this a lot harder than I had to be. Like, yeah, all I should have done was just fire the Frenzy Plant when it came in, and then I basically just had to do what I did backwards, but then, like, yeah, I was like, my brain was like, why did I do, I mean, I still won, but I'm like, why? Why did I do all of this? I mean, I still won, but I was just like, I wasn't even stressed, I was just like, what did I do? Why did I do all that? Like, you start questioning your life choices in the middle of battle. As you get Skarmory and Ariados, this is great because we resist everything that Ariados has to offer. And then we get a Steelix. So I kind of jack up here. I was thinking, okay, you know what, should I just fire the Earthquake right away? But I'm just like, they're probably not going to shield it anyways, because of what happens is that Ariados is going to come in. The reason I fire the Frenzy Plant is because I want a little chip on me, because what's going to happen is the scenario like I mentioned before. They're likely going to come in with Ariados and farm me down. So I was like, I don't want you to have a lot of farm, and at the same time, I don't know what you have in the back. So as you see, Frenzy Plants go through, we take out the Steelix that comes in. Ariados comes in and tries to farm us down as I predicted. So as you see, I'm frantically tapping on the Earthquake. My opponent counts everything correctly, and what's going to happen here is I'm going to just get taken out by Cross Poison, Lunge, pretty much anything will kill me at this point. And as you see, Cross Poison does go through. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to send in my Skarmory and hope we have a great matchup against whatever's in the back with Umbreon. As you see here, they're going to fire Cross Poison or Lunge. I will just eat it because Skarmory is tanky and we can take a bunch of damage. As you see here, Lunge does go off and it barely does anything. So I'm just farming. I'm getting a bunch of energy here and they fire another move. So I was like, okay. So they're going to fire another Lunge, which does like nothing as you see here. And I'm like, all right, -2 plus a Sky Attack. We're still vibing pretty hard. I can take anything this Ariados has to offer. As you see, we still put in the red despite -2. And it is a jump off. And I'm like, oh, this really sucks for my opponent. Because Skarmory beats both of those mons really hard. And all that Umbreon is pretty much going to serve is just an energy sponge. We're going to do as much damage as we can with Foul Play. And literally all I have to do is chip away at this thing. Then I can send in Skarmory to farm to like... I could Air Slash down. And then I could literally Air Slash down the Ariados in the back too. We shield the Acrobats, and my opponent should be top lefting pretty soon too. As in, they'll probably realize, like, there's really no way you can win this. As you see, Foul Play goes through, they shield, but at the same time, it's going to take 2 more Acrobats before you take out my Umbreon. I'm literally just chipping away our opponent's soul just because I should just be able to fast move down with Skarmory, and that will be GG's. And as you see, they finally realize that that's going to happen, so they finally top left. I'm like, thank you, God. There's really no way you can win that. There's really no way you can win. Like, unless Go Battle Like takes my soul, which is always a win condition, but, you know, it be that way sometimes. For the next battle, we get, like I mentioned, we are gatekeeping hard as heck to Legend, because, yeah, and we get a Meganium to Skarmory, and I'm vibing super, I'm like, let's go. We get Skarmory to Skarmory action, and my game plan here is to Bird before I dip, so I'm going to Brave Bird real quick, and then I'm going to get the heck out of here, and I'm going to send in Umbreon. We have a Meganium, and... I ideally shouldn't fire this. I should probably keep the energy, but we're going to keep that Skarmory so low and it's locked in anyways. This should be at the point to where like a Foul Play should be able to kill. And as you see, I'm just going to keep on snarling until I get 2 Foul Plays because I might be able to sneak one in as you saw there. So, Foul Plays are just going, I'm just going to build up to 2 Foul Plays and I'm going to fire. So even if this is the Brave Bird, that's fine. Umbreon should be able to live, but at the same time, my opponent has to either shield here or lose their Skarmory. So let's see what they do. As you see, I fire the first Foul Play. Our opponent selects to shield, and then they send in the Meganium. I'm gonna fire Foul Play though, which is fine. The reason I want this to happen is because I want to run the clock. I don't want this Meganium to farm me. And as you see here, I should be able to get to another Foul Play to run the clock. And then I can send in Skarmory and then farm down with Meganium. So, yes. It's very generic. Send in Skarmory, farm down Meganium, take everything it has to offer. But remember how I mentioned that Frenzy Plants can still do a really good chunk of damage? As you see here, Frenzy Plant goes off. And, well, it's not Frenzy Plant's Earthquake, which is the right move because the reason why is because Earthquake is single resisted. But you blow all your energy anyway, so they're going to Earthquake and then Frenzy Plant. But, like I mentioned, Earthquake is single resisted, well, Frenzy Plant is double resisted. As you see, your Frenzy Plant still does a sizable amount of damage. So, we're in the yellow. We have hella energy, and we have shield advantage. So, unless they have a really hard counter in the back, this is pretty much GG's, and they don't. It's a Lantern, which is great for me because Lantern is going to get absolutely eviscerated by my Meganium in the back. And as you see, I'm just chipping away at this Lantern. The issue is that I'm locked in right now, so all I want to do is chip away as much as I can on this Lantern. And I still have 2 shields. So their Meganium has no shields. I mean, they have 1 shield, but as you see here, they are going to send in their Skarmory. Remember I told you that all you have to do is just beat the unholy crap out of the Skarmory, even if you get locked in a flower. All I gotta do is just get a bazillion energy here. And then I should be able to double up on Frenzy Plants. And then if they shield once, I should be able to get them on 2. Because there's no way the Skarmory has enough energy to fire 2 Frenzy Plants. As you see, this Frenzy Plant's going to go off. And then I'm going to just blast this Lantern in the back with Frenzy Plant. I don't know why my opponent didn't shield. I think it would have been better in this scenario. But it doesn't really matter anyways. Because for one, I still have a shield. And then I should be able to outpace my opponent. So it really doesn't matter at this point. It's GG's. As you see, Thunderbolt, we're able to live that, and then our opponent should either quit out or they're going to eat the whole Frenzy Plant because this will definitely kill. Remember how Frenzy Plant is OP, and you pretty much wall, unless it has Blizzard, you pretty much wall off all these Lanterns, and that's GG's. Again, we had a huge advantage in that matchup because we got the Skarmory into the Meganium, but still, Meganium can still hit Skarmory for a lot of damage, as you saw there. For the next battle, was this a super sweaty battle? I think it was. As you see here, we get a fellow rank 10. Well, we get technically their legend because they're using the rank 1 pose, and we get a mirror match. Shinies do more damage, and our opponent switches into Raikou immediately, and my brain is like, why would you do that? So I fire the Frenzy Plant right away. I won't shield this Shadow Ball, but I like in the mirror, why would you swap out? Or rather, why would you have this team? Because you're going to see what their back row is. And I'm be like, you know, it's a good idea. But if you have if your opponent has Meganium like I do here, you're kind of screwed. As you see here, Frenzy Plant does big damage. And all we have to do here is just farm down. We get Skarmory in the back. And all I'm going to do is I'm trying to go for the Earthquake. But then I realize, like, you know, I might not get there. I'm just going to fire the Frenzy Plant. So we have a Meganium into their Skarmory. We're going to do a decent bit of chip damage. And then we're going to send in Skarmory so that we can sponge all this damage. So as you see, we send in Skarmory. We're sponging as I want to sponge because we should be able to take all that down. And we get a Lantern, which is freaking great because Umbreon should have a pretty good matchup against Lantern. And like I mentioned, their Skarmory has chip. And I have my Skarmory to sponge their Skarmory's damage. So it's going to be a long day for us because as you see here, it's just Charge Move Central. As you see, the Snarl goes through, but that's perfectly fine. I won't shield anything here. All I pretty much have to do to win this game is just shield. Make sure Umbreon is like a little alive. Not leave it dead, chip away with foul plays, break as many shields as humanly possible, and they should start shielding now because we're getting to the closing scenarios of the game. We have a Skarmory in the back, we have shield advantage. I'm going to expend 1 shield later on. I will not shield this, which is a mistake because as you see, I get pumped. I got really wet. It was like Raging Waters. It was like a theme park, a water theme park. And I was just like, really, dude? Like, hashtag get wet. Not get beamed, but like, yeah, I got really wet. That sounds really wrong. You know what? Please excuse that. But I'm saying this in the context of getting hydro pumped. So hashtag get pumped. There you go. They send in the Skarmory and catch the foul play, which is actually really impressive. I'm like, okay. Take more chip damage. Not only that, I have 2 shields. I send in my own Skarmory, and then as you see here, I catch the Sky Attack. I have 2 shields. this is game over. Sir, you should probably just top left because it's GG's. There's literally no way you can come back from this predicament. So as you see here, Sky Attack goes through. I still have 2 shields. I will shield 1. All I have to do is leave a shield for that lantern in the back, and this should just be GG's. So I don't even elect to shield at this point. I'm going to shield the next Sky Attack though, and they should send in a lantern. As you see, I'm just gaining up to 2 Sky Attacks. I'm going to shield this one, and then if the lantern has a move on it, I'll shield that one as well. And then this should just be GG's. As you see, I'm learning to do. My game plan is going to work. I will Brave Bird here, and as I predicted, that lantern has a move. The game plan here is to just Brave Bird, and then I should be able to Snarl down. And then, again, it's pretty much game. So, as you see, Brave Bird goes off. This should do big damage to the lantern. All I'm going to do is send in Umbreon. This will clear the debuff, and hopefully I can get Snarl downs for the victory, and I do. My opponent should top left pretty shortly. Or, as you see here, I get a Sky Attack, I fire it off, and I don't even get to fire it off because one fast move go, and my opponent top lefts, and that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. This team is insanely powerful and does really well as the most powerful Johto Team Cup. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the most powerful team statistically according to data. And as you see, it does really, really well. If you lose the lead, you save switch into Meganium. I mean, not Meganium. You save switch into Umbreon, not Meganium. Save switch into Umbreon. Umbreon functions as a save switch in this cup just because it's so powerful and it's so tanky. As you see here, Umbreon save switch is still really good. Lose lead, save switch to Umbreon, try to realign and close out. Or you can do a lot of fancy win conditions like you saw I do over here. And as you see, Meganium is just so powerful. Even if it gets locked into Flyer, as long as you don't get absolutely eviscerated or one-shotted by flying type attacks, you should do really, really well. And you can chip away at a Skarmory's HP as you saw in this shoutcast. And if they have enough chip damage, you could possibly just take it out. Or you could save 2 shields, whatever's in the back, or just do something fancy like I did in this shoutcast a lot. So again, statistically the most powerful team, used by 0.5%. So some 2 or more people, well, when it's 0.5%, there was a decent amount of people using it. I'd say it's decent because you can literally, you could see, I've seen this even before the top teams came out, I've been seeing this combination running around, and I'm like, okay, like, it's really good and it's really powerful. And hopefully you have all the components of these mons, because all 3 of these have been mega meta for a very long time in Open Great League. Hopefully this team helps you out. Hopefully it helps you climb Lido. I actually, when I use this team, I actually didn't have a negative set at all, so that's why I've been climbing lately. So I'm like, okay, cool. But do me a huge favor. You see next to Charmanders, please like and subscribe. It's totally free. I really appreciate my current subscribers, and I do my best to bring content to you every single day. Well, do my best. Or usually I'll like make multiple videos and then queue them up. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the Johto Cup. Hopefully this team and this shoutcast helps you build or use this team, and you're close to legend. If not, you guys have 100 battles coming soon, so you don't have to worry about it too much. There's literally going to be 100 battles per day for like 5 days straight. So you have like 500 battles and plenty of time to make legend still. Again, do me a huge favor. Please like and subscribe. It's totally free. I really appreciate my current subscribers. Love my community. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. And I will see you guys on the next video.